welcome back to the SKOL. My name is Asher Whitmer. I'm here with my brother Christopher. We love football. We enjoy tracking the Vikings. We want to see them win one or multiple Super Bowls before we die, if the Lord willeth. But that's not going to be this year. This is not the year for the Vikings to win a Super Bowl. And there's a lot of stuff we are going to talk about, dive into, rant about. But Christopher, I'm going to kick it off with you. What is your instant reaction in light of the Week 11 loss? Once again, McCarthy has this beautiful game-winning drive to take the lead. Only there's just enough time on the clock, and Vikings special teams breaks down, gives up a big return, and the Bears are able to win kick a field goal to win it. Yeah, what's your instant reaction?
Instant reaction was very discouraged. I was very discouraged and mad. I couldn't believe, because I wasn't watching the game. I was at work, and so I had the game pulled up on a mobile device and was watching the scores come through, and I was so mad. I was so mad at the Packers. I couldn't believe that they got the game winning field goal. Yeah, the Bears. Couldn't believe that they got the game winning field goal. Because I was like, the whole game, I was like, they were staying in it, and it was, came down. It was 16-10. I was like, I think they can do this. Like, I think they can. It's 16-10, right? Or was it 16-9?
No, it was 16-10, and then they scored to make it 17-16. But then the
the special teams just let up a massive return, and they got a field goal. It felt, it felt very discouraging. I think there's part of me, and I'm just gonna be this incessant, maybe positive. Maybe it's a survival tactic. I was very discouraged because there's all this up in the air about McCarthy. But then also, it does feel like that game, was the turning point for the season. Like, if we could have won that game, I could see us going on a run, and I still see us possibly going on a run. But I just think it's going to be very hard to go on a run and to be able to make the playoffs.
Yeah, so it was an awful game. But on McCarthy's standpoint, that final drive that he had was beautiful, looked great. You wonder why can't he play like that, be that decisive and consistent in his mechanics as he was on that final drive. But there's also, people talk about McCarthy just has to manage the Ferrari, just drive the Ferrari well enough. And we knew there's going to be this up and down with McCarthy.
Yeah.
But you can't have Addison dropping balls, Hockenson dropping balls, stealing even borderline a drop, borderline a bad throw. McCarthy had a bad game, but it's accentuated when the Ferrari isn't even driving like a Ferrari. And I thought O'Connell fixed some of the issues in terms he ran the ball more. Maybe they should have done it more. There again, I wasn't able to watch the whole game. So I'm not sure some of the specific plays where he opts to try to throw it as opposed to run it. But the biggest piece for me was just this team is not an 11-win team. It's a development season for McCarthy for sure. He's up and down, and I'm sure we'll get into some of the hot takes and the exclamatory thoughts that people have about McCarthy, but this team is not a playoff winning team. The team is bad. The team is not, they're not consistent. They don't even seem like they want to win that much. I don't know if they thought it would come easy. You have flashes where they looked more prepared, where they come in, and I'll have a hot take on my pick for this week because they have an ability to go in places where they, maybe struggled last year and they have some improvement. But then against teams that they should be able to win. And the thing about it is, and I want to give Bears fans their due diligence, because it was an ugly game. Period. If I'm a
Yeah.
Bears fan, I'm feeling about as miserable as I was a Vikings fan. Like, no, neither of the, it should have ended in a tie probably. Like, neither team played well. Both quarterbacks had a 50% completion rate. And so on one hand, I'm like, the Bears are not a, I don't see them sustaining the division lead. However, the Bears are winning the ugly games. And those are the teams to watch out for, teams that can win the ugly games when they can stack ugly wins together. Obviously, you need more than that to move on, but they're finding ways to win. Believe it or not, Caleb Williams is leading the league in fourth quarter game-winning drives this year. And so they have it together. And I think some of what we saw from Ben Johnson early on in the season of kind of throwing the fire hydrant at Caleb may be starting to pay off, which is partly what I wonder if O'Connell's doing with McCarthy,
Yeah.
because he's definitely not protecting McCarthy like some
Yeah.
national analysts have suggested, floated. He's putting him in some intentionally difficult situations, and McCarthy's not looking too good. But it was another winnable game. The Vikings could have won it. I thought they would win it. And like you said, I'm not sure what that means for the rest of the season, the fact that they lost that game, because there's really only one potential winnable game on their schedule if you're going by like facing an equal matchup. However, the Vikings beat the Lions.
Yeah.
They
That's
played with the Eagles.
I think that's part of I think that's part of my thing and my optimism is that they've been in these games. Like they've stayed in the games. They have yeah, they've been right there with the Steelers, the Eagles, and they beat the Lions and the Ravens. They honestly should have been able to beat the Ravens and the Bears. There were chances, there were moments in that game where if they in each of those games where they could have taken them down. And so like they're playing really poorly, but also their quarterback is playing really poorly, and when he locks in, they drive down the field and score every time. Um I think like some of the stuff that is encouraging is like the O-line is playing really well. Donovan Jackson didn't allow any pressures. I don't think there was a single sack all game. Um, the defense was playing decently. Obviously, like the Bears offense was playing terribly, but like Dallas Turner is coming up. He had a decent game. I think that the disappointment with Turner is largely overblown. I think what we're seeing with Turner is also development that fans just don't have the patience for. Um, and maybe like I think he's being taught how to do the simple things really really well. Which is also I think what they're trying to do with McCarthy. His like mental, like number one, there was like one delay of game, so they fixed that from last week.
And there were very few penalties, weren't there?
Yeah. I
I
don't
can't.
actually know the number, but certainly wasn't a part of the narrative of the game. Um, and his like knowledge of what is going on the field seems to be well. Like he's making good decisions. He's just throwing incredibly inaccurate. And and I think the problem that he has is fairly obvious and straightforward. You look at like, JT Sullivan with the QB school and different people who are analyzing his play, breaking it down, and it all seems to be about like his stance and his body and like his throwing motion, which to me those are mechanics. Those are things you can fix. Like whether or not you're a leader, whether or not you're mentally in the game, all of those things are a lot harder to teach.
Yeah.
Mechanics over time you can fix if you have the patience for it. So I don't know. I don't know if McCarthy has like the capability to have like a one game where it just clicks and then we go on a run. Because if it does click, I think we can go on a run. You say there's one game winnable game. There's one winnable game maybe if like the Baltimore Ravens and Bears team shows up, the team that played them. I think they're all winnable games if the team that played the Lions shows up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what, if the team that played the Lions, if the team that shows up on the game winning drive or in the fourth quarter of the Bears, or, we have seen this team be able to do it. I'm not sure what to make of some of the comments from Jefferson and so forth. People definitely want to create this conflict
Yeah.
going on, and I'm sure there's tension. I have no doubt there's tension because nothing looks like what they wanted it to. But I also think that maybe it's appropriate for Jefferson to get a little agitated. Addison, like these guys need to take personal accountability too, in their own effort and and play. And so, what if there's enough? It seemed like defensively, was that back with the Lions game where it seemed like Hargrave and Allen had been specifically addressed, and they ever since they've been way more physical at the line. Maybe there needs to be a little bit of something like that with the offense too. And obviously, it's
Yeah.
hard. You have to do it carefully. And more, what I was going to say is maybe it's coming organically, because some of Jefferson's comments sound, people want to take it as though he's frustrated with the offense. They also sound like Jefferson acknowledging what we're all seeing. Like,
Yeah.
you receivers aren't necessarily making it easy for him either by how many drop passes or something. Jefferson typically doesn't drop passes, but there have been times where he seemed to run the wrong route, or like there was some confusion or something that has happened with McCarthy. And obviously, I don't know. Maybe Jefferson he took ownership for that in the Week 1 game with the Bears, and maybe that was just kind of a veteran move, captain like move. Maybe it is McCarthy actually misjudging where he was supposed to throw that ball and so forth. But
Yeah.
there's definitely these aspects. We've seen this team; they have the skill set to do it, and so there's the hope of like, man, they could break off and go on a run. I think McCarthy will be that way. Like, there's a part of me that thinks once things click for McCarthy in a consistent manner, he'll go from I think he's leading the league in interceptions right now, to just carrying his team. I don't know that he'll ever be a yards leader of passing yards. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure out what we all are. We're 6 games into this. But he seems to be the kind of guy that can, as you said, with his leadership, his mentality, and learning the game and what he needs to do to direct a win for his team, I think they could go on a run.
Yeah.
But right now they're not doing it. It doesn't look that hopeful. I did look it up. They had 2 penalties against the Bears for 15 yards, for 15 penalty yards, which is phenomenal compared to their 13 against the Ravens. That alone, if they would have had 2 penalties against the Ravens, they probably win that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's not
And
how it was.
that's where it's like, and I think there was those instant reactions. I think my like overall kind of week's reaction is I cannot stand this fan base on Twitter. I I used to get super defensive about this because like I think if we were in Minnesota interacting primarily with Vikings fans, I'm sure it'd be like all over the place, whatever. But the people on Twitter are so, and maybe this is just more, obviously this is more of a reflection of Twitter and the types of people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Just so reactionary and like digging for drama, and like the real story is that it's just very boring. Like I don't think like even like our
Yeah.
guys at Purple Daily, like trying to like say that the ownership doesn't have the patience for this. You
I
listen
was
to
just gonna
other
say that. Yeah.
you listen to other people who talk about ownership and talk about the facts of ownership. This ownership group is very patient. They were with Mike Zimmer for 8 years. Like,
Yeah.
um, they they were with. I mean, Spielman wasn't in his role until Zimmer, but like Spielman was in the organization for like 12 years. Like I I don't, and even their own guy, their insider guy that they bring on, shoot, I forget what his name is. I find him mildly annoying, but
Johnson
um,
or
no,
which?
Purple Dailies,
Oh,
he does like the injury updates.
Doogie,
Doogie, yeah,
Dukes.
he he really downplayed it. He's like, ownership loves O'Connell. They're not gonna give up on Kwesi yet. Like if heads roll, it's gonna probably be like Grigson or like, someone further down. I think Locked On Vikings made a good point that if there's a problem with McCarthy's development, the QB coach, which is McCowan, is the one who really would be responsible for that. Like obviously the head coach, our particular head coach, has a lot to do with McCarthy's development, but he's not doing
Yeah.
that he's not by McCarthy doing the drills, I mean, I don't entirely know for sure, but so the idea that there's going to be this big dramatic, like this season's going to end in this kind of fallout, to me just makes me lose respect for a lot of people. Maybe I'll be wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things this year, but I think I got started on this rant by just talking about like this fan base and our impatience with development. Like it is going to take development and it's going to take patience. And I rant
Hmm.
about this every week, I feel like. But
Our show is at risk of becoming a little boring, probably, if it was
yeah,
ever exciting.
because we're just
But
saying the same.
I
Give us
do
a game to give us a game to rave about.
I've thought about that with the Score North. I've lost a little bit of interest in them because it feels
Yeah,
like they're going the route of what's going to get views and clicks,
a
and
little bit.
which they call themselves the people's show. They're leaning into what the people online are saying and wanting, and that's all
Yeah,
this drama and so forth. But it feels hypocritical to me how you can go from just earlier this year praising Kwesi's moves at free agency, praising O'Connell, even as early as the spring training and just the
yeah,
development that they've been putting into, and then all of a sudden, when we have the ride of development, be up and down. And I think, in full transparency, I was unrealistic or just wasn't aware of exactly how challenging it is to develop a QB
yeah,
by predicting 11 wins, a playoff win, all that. Like that was ambitious. Obviously
yeah,
I'm wrong on that. It would be a miracle if they win every single game from here on out and get to the 11 wins. But the what was I going to say with that? Oh, yeah, it's the up and down. Like when you actually watch the team, when you hear them talking about what's going on within each other, when you hear Jefferson talk, when you hear O'Connell talk, I think O'Connell has a very specific plan that he's
yeah,
putting into place. I like to see the fact that he ran the ball more. Could that be something they continue to improve? Perhaps. But I also think, give it a year from now, McCarthy may be a better passer because of being challenged in this regard.
yeah,
And the way O'Connell runs the ball currently may be valuable, may look totally different. It feels frustrating because McCarthy's not there yet. And so it's like these are reachable games, and we as a fan base just want the win. And
yeah,
quite frankly, I don't think O'Connell is focused on the win right now. I don't think O'Connell ever like even the way Score North is depicted, like, oh, everyone was looking for a deep playoff run this year. It's like, oh, I'm not sure that's true. Like when you listen to O'Connell and the coaching staff talk heading into spring training, heading into the year, yeah, they wanted to build off of last year, but everyone knew they were going into a develop McCarthy year.
Yeah.
And is it worse than what they hoped it would be? I'm sure. Like
Right.
it has looked very ugly.
Yeah.
It's okay that McCarthy is off the Mahomes mountain of Nick Wright's tiers or quarterback ranking right now, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous and hypocritical to be jumping ship this fast. It was just like,
Yeah.
this
And
is the ride. This is
to be fair to Score North, Judd was advocating. He's like, I think they have to play him the rest of the 7
yeah,
games.
that's true.
And Positive Phil was talking about like Vikings fans' need for patience and do we have the stomach for it. I think what I was frustrated about was like some of the narratives that Judd was proposing, and again it's like it's their hot takes segment and whatever, and
Yeah.
maybe I'm just not a hot takes guy. So, but even beyond them, they're kind of the big, they're kind of the big, especially like Twitter Vikings fandom guys. But like, yeah, just people I see in the tweets just talking about, just totally, yeah, like you said, totally writing McCarthy off, saying just insane things about KOC. Like, what do people expect? Like, you fire KOC and you start the whole thing over again. And
Yeah.
I don't know what people want. But
And the thing that's really, sorry, did I cut you off?
no, go for it.
I was going to say, like, and this is why this is very boring. Like, we
Yeah.
have to just acknowledge it's a very awkward time to be a Vikings fan because
Yeah.
you see McCarthy dapping up his receivers afterward, and it's, it looks, or the way he takes ownership and stuff at the podium and so forth, and it looks like, oh, either he's an extreme narcissist or he's a really good leader rallying people together. They're going to work things through.
Yeah.
And it could go either way. Like, it could go that he never figures things out and this all goes down as super embarrassing and he's the laughing stock of the NFL. Like, that's how this could go. Right now, quite frankly, he is somewhat of the laughing stock of the NFL.
Yeah.
He does a better job almost at throwing to the other team than to his own team. And that's not quite fair. He has averaging maybe 2 interceptions a game. But the other piece to it is that he could get things figured out. His team continues to ride with him, and the confidence that his O-line is at. Like, even that final drive, who's 76? Is that Jackson or is it Freeze? Fries. It may have been Fries.
Might be Fries.
Had like turned around and was jumping up and down with him when he threw the touchdown pass to Addison. And so it seems like they're still rooting for him. They're with him in the development. And so it could just be his engagement. Like, quite frankly, I don't like to see young QBs, and you see this some with Michael Penix, a little bit with Caleb Williams, less maybe this year. He and Johnson are definitely together more, but where they have a rough outing and they just kind of go and sit on the bench and they kind of go and but McCarthy's there with his receivers. He's there talking to O'Connell. He's there with McCowan.
Yeah.
Yes, it's awkward. We don't know. McCowan may be a horrible QB coach. O'Connell's plan might not work. McCarthy might be a failure of a QB. Or within the next 15 games, a lot could turn around and things look significantly better.
So there's this guy I follow on Twitter, Quincy Avery. I think he's a former quarterback, but he's now he does like quarterback coaching and analysis and stuff. And he was talking about how he's like, it is norm, like you cannot bypass the sort of struggle of developing a young QB. He's like, you have people like CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels who have incredible rookie seasons, but
Mm-hmm.
both of them regressed in their second season. You have Caleb Williams, who's kind of a bad rookie season, and now like he's kind of strugglingly putting it together. And I honestly think the Bears, by switching head coaches, the Bears probably saved Caleb Williams' career. Like he'll probably
Mm-hmm.
go on to be like a pretty decent, if not great, quarterback, which wouldn't have happened, I think, if with a second. But like Bryce Young was benched.
Yeah. Oh,
The only reason Bryce Young got a starting job back, at least last year, he may have gotten it this year, but like, was because of like an unfortunate car accident that Andy Dalton had. Like,
yeah.
um, you know, Joe Burrow is maybe in my lifetime. Joe Burrow and Mahomes are maybe the two like golden boys who, Mahomes sat for a year and then had an incredible, first year starting. Joe Burrow, played great, got injured, and then went to the Super Bowl the second year, and so like he had a pretty good season, but there again, Joe Burrow was injured for. This is something I just now thought about. Like we don't talk about with McCarthy. Joe Burrow was injured like within 6 weeks, I think, of his rookie season, so he was like out, and then went on a Super Bowl run. Um.
Mm-hmm. Although
Anyways,
injuries
go.
do continue to plague him, and so I don't
Yeah, they
know if
do.
yeah.
I think that's probably more a reflection of just the horrific organization that he plays for, who spends all their money on three offensive players and then
Yeah.
doesn't get him an
Yeah.
O line, doesn't get him a defense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we have a quarterback, a young rookie quarterback who's already led a pretty phenomenal fourth quarter comeback, second half comeback. He does it once again, has this game winning drive, looks
Yeah.
beautiful, amazing. Mr. Darnold over there faces the Rams again, throws 4 interceptions. They lose the game. I want to be careful. This because I want Darnold to succeed. I really do. I kind of grew an affection for
Mm-hmm.
him
Yeah.
last year. We saw how like he had games where he literally did look like Mahomes.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating that people nationally are giving him a little more recognition now. And now because McCarthy's struggling, everybody's like, well, maybe it wasn't so much O'Connell that helped him develop. Maybe
Yeah.
it was Darnold had it all along, all this. It's like, okay, the narratives, it's both and. Like Darnold had it there. He
Yeah.
needed a coach to unlock it. But this is why I'm not jumping the bandwagon yet. It's like,
Yeah.
I want Darnold to succeed, but I'm very skeptical that Darnold's going to succeed in the biggest moments. He may have some really good stats. I think he'll lead his teams to 500 ball and better. Lead his teams to playoffs. Hopefully, he'll win playoff games. But I would rather see the guy that has the it factor to have guys rally around him and then to
Mm-hmm.
orchestrate comebacks and step up a certain aura about him. Like when things are on the line, you see something change in McCarthy's own aura. And you saw
Mm-hmm.
that drastically with Darnold is his own aura changed when he could not figure out the defense, when he like things just weren't working. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, the Seahawks are going to collapse. Rather, I'm saying as Vikings fans, we've seen that before. We've seen that
Yeah.
part of Darnold before. We
Yeah.
saw the part of Darnold that leads you to a phenomenal season, and here we are, middle of November, looking at a playoff spot, and we're about to run things down for the division or whatever. Like
Yeah.
we've had that with Darnold. So come talk to me after Darnold's won a game or two in the playoffs, and then I'll be like, hey, yeah, the Vikings could have maybe invested in him. But I'm also totally okay with taking this ride, failing in my predictions of them winning a playoff game this year. And who knows, maybe the Bears will have gone worse to first and the Vikings will have gone almost first to dead last this year, and everyone can laugh at the Vikings. But I think like I'd rather do that ride and see what O'Connell can do developing McCarthy and what could be improved beyond that.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
Even though the Mondays and Tuesdays following the weeks are not near as I'm not as amped to listen to football content as last year
Right.
when everything was going well.
Yeah. Yeah, I just have not engaged nearly as much every week, unless it's the week after the Lions or whatever. Then I engaged a lot more, but every week I diminished a little bit more just because. Yeah, I don't enjoy losing, like, but more than
Nobody
that, I
does.
just
Yeah.
think I don't even think it's the losing that I'm so discouraged about. It is just kind of the way people talk in these really crazy extremes where it's like, oh, it's the
Yeah.
worst, it's got to be fired, or there's going to be drama or whatever. It's just like, I just don't think that's true. Like, um, kind of going back to what you were saying about Sam Darnold though, like I do think that Sam Darnold has it within him to take a team to the Super Bowl, and I hope he does one day win a Super Bowl. I think that would be an incredible story. I think that would be an incredible story for the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Like to play a part in that. Obviously, it would sting. Like if within the next year or two Sam Darnold is winning a Super Bowl trophy and we think, "Oh man, we had him in our building. He was our guy." Like we were crazy about him that, 2024 season. That would
Yeah.
hurt. That would sting. And there would be thoughts in my head of like, maybe we should have kept him. But I think at the end of the day, no matter what, there was no other option. Like there was no realistic world unless he won, he ended the season completely differently last year. I don't think there was
Mm.
ever a world in which it was realistic that he would stay. And I didn't want him to stay. I still am glad we moved on from him because finding
Yeah.
a young quarterback in the long run is the better strategy than
So people.
especially for this franchise because we've done this veterans thing time and time again. We
Yeah.
we had Dante Culpepper who was, he was a great young quarterback. He's our last like great young quarterback that we drafted. And then it was a bunch of veterans, and then Teddy Bridgewater was probably going to be a franchise quarterback, but then he blew out his knee. Christian Ponder was a bust. Like we have gone through the cycle of let's try this veteran quarterback. We've had, you
Yeah.
know, old, old Eagles quarterback. What's his name? McNabb. We had McNabb. We had Matt Castle. We had Sam Bradford. We had Kirk Cousins. The
Yeah.
list goes on. We've tried that. Um, I don't want to go 12-5 and lose in the playoffs. Like I want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
find
Exactly.
someone to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. And fans need to we need to stand accountable because nobody wanted the Vikings to re sign Sam Darnold last year.
No
Like that
Vikings
was
fans, I don't think.
Vikings fans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was not the talk of Twitter last year. That like in January, February of 2025, this year even,
Everybody was out for blood.
people would have been furious with the front office if they shelled out more money to keep Sam to stay. Nobody had confidence in Daniel Jones. Like the idea that Daniel Jones could become what he is with the Colts was far from people's minds. Like we didn't even see him play
Yeah.
with the Vikings at all. And so the idea that somehow the front office was so foolish for letting these people go. It's like you're you're totally reading things in hindsight. You're completely having recency bias and it's just it doesn't make sense if you think that they were a part of unlocking these things in these players and they chose instead to stick with McCarthy. That means they feel they can develop him into something. And yes, it is a risk, but ownership was on board with it. O'Connell's on board with it. Kwesi's on board with it. There's a lot invested in this, and they're not just doing it half-heartedly. So I think we have to like be honest about what we were wanting and in for the ride as it is.
Yeah.
Let's go through our picks here as we wind down this week's episode. I took out the win. I think I should get a bonus, I don't know, 5 wins because I got exactly 11 wins on week 11. But I don't know. You're still in the lead going 10-5. Basically the differential was we were right alongside each other. I picked the Bills to win, you picked the Buccaneers to win, and so I got that win ahead of you. This next week, my thought process is this. We're at week 12. If I'm going to gain ground on Christopher, I've got to start hitting extra bases. I've got to start hitting home runs. I got to do, to keep the football metaphors, we got to start getting the 20, 25-yard chunks, not just these little checkdowns.
So you're saying I'm about to pull way ahead. There's about to be a blowout.
It's going to go either way. This is an awkward week of picks because either I'm like, well, I can't even remember. I'll just show this. Either I'm going to pull out. So we are neck and neck for the most part.
I thought about going with the Vikings. This is what I was going to say. I was going to stick with my rule of like even with the Lions game, they have not proven themselves to justify me picking them. But I was going to say, I think the Vikings are going to win. I have a feeling that the Vikings are going to win.
Yeah, and I almost went Packers, and then I was like, they have been good on the road, especially in division.
Sure.
They're struggling at home. And I also think there's enough bit of fire under the belly now, especially losing to the Bears, where I could see them pulling it out. I could be wrong. I agree with you. They haven't really shown anything to make me pick them with confidence, but I'm leaning on the fact that I don't think the Vikings are as bad as they look and as everybody says they are. I think they've got somewhat of a fire in them yet. And I also need to start getting some 20, 30-yard chunks here. And so seeing you go the easy route of picking the Packers, I'm going to pick the Vikings, upset the Packers in their own house. I thought maybe it'd be easy for them to beat divisional rivals at home then. Clearly it's not.
Yeah.
I'm also picking the Steelers, even though they have an injured starting quarterback, to take down the Bears. I'm picking the Browns. Maybe Shadur Sanders will show something that he hasn't been able to yet. I'll go to the next screen here. I'm having the Cowboys take down the Eagles and the Saints the Falcons. I think the Falcons are in danger. And the Panthers over the 49ers.
The Panthers are 6-5. That's crazy.
The Panthers could be a really cool story of the year.
They could win that division.
I also think the Rams are the sneaky Super Bowl watchdog.
Yeah, they
Stafford
probably
might be putting together an MVP season here.
Yeah, that'd be kind of boring, but
so the Eagles are the team. They did this last year, right? It's like they don't look like a Super Bowl team. They don't look like a Super Bowl team. Well, next thing you know, you look back and they're on a 7-game winning streak. And that game against the Lions was ugly. It wasn't.
It was.
They played the Packers the week before that, right? And that was ugly. That wasn't
two
very
ugly
pretty
games
either.
Against the NFC North.
But just like the Bears, they're stacking ugly wins. I do think the Cowboys being in division and healthier, I think they might come out and force the Eagles to play better than they have the last couple of weeks. But I don't know. Maybe the Eagles will just blow them out and hold serve and show that they are indeed the Super Bowl favorites. But I don't think the who did I have? The Chargers and the Lions in the Super Bowl. The Chargers winning the Super Bowl. I'm going to want to – what did we decide? We're going to have the final – like after before playoff games has started after the season, we're gonna do our mea culpas.
Oh yeah, maybe
Is that what we said? Because I definitely, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna want that. Switch it over.
for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for the Super Bowl picks.
Who did you pick? I'm trying to remember.
The Chargers. I have the Chargers winning the Super Bowl.
Oh,
I got
that
totally sucked into the September, early October wins
yeah.
that happens every year. Somebody starts out
I
hot and
was
then they
that was kind of interesting to see the Chargers get blown out last week. Who blew them out? It was someone.
it was the Jaguars.
Yeah, because I was just like, all right, so this team that made us feel so miserable, like the worst game of the season.
Yeah, I mean they had been blown out before they played us too, but
Yeah, this is again like Vikings fans just overreact to everything. I don't think they overreacted to that game. It was awful. It was horrible, and
it was a bad
what
game. Yeah.
didn't help that Kevin O'Connell, like, they didn't practice. They only did walkthroughs that week, which was weird. But
That was the
but it
third
is
that was
nice to
Thursday
see
night.
some of those teams with the famed Jim Harbaugh getting blown out.
There's nothing in me that wants him over
Oh my gosh.
O'Connell. Even though I know he's a great coach. Like he's great. It's awesome. I'm excited to see what O'Connell can do.
Yeah. I just everything about I think I talked about this last year, like with Kevin O'Connell, and I think Kwesi's less important, but I do like Kwesi. Kevin O'Connell, Jefferson, like these people make me enjoy being a Vikings fan. It's not just the
Yeah.
logo and the colors. It's like I like these guys, and I like their process. Like I like that. I mean, it's a little bit cheesy that Kevin O'Connell goes on K-Fan and like gets this kind of glazing interview from Paul Allen,
Yeah.
but he goes out of his way to have moments like he did yesterday where he's very blunt and straightforward about their process, and I like that. And it's
Yeah.
also within like the vein of like Bud Grant and like some of our greatest
Yeah.
Vikings memories. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think like Vikings fans really want, it's almost like they want Kwesi to be I was thinking about this in particular to Kwesi, but the Vikings franchise as a whole to be something
mhm.
that they're not. Like I think we overestimate to well for one thing, I don't think people hit on draft picks as positively as people think they do.
Mhm.
That somehow, you know, what and we've talked about this some before, but what they've been able to do in Philly the last few years. First of all, a couple things. I'm not convinced that that's the only Super Bowl route to go. That's not the way the Chiefs necessarily
Yeah.
go. Even though the Chiefs have, like when they had a weak O line, they went out and fixed it in the draft. They definitely used the draft to help develop. But this notion that you have to hit on the vast majority of your draft picks or else you're not going to be able to develop.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, that's how the Eagles did it. That's how they've done it recently, but that's not how they've always done it. And that's not how all Super Bowl winning teams do it,
Yeah.
AKA the 2020 Los Angeles Rams.
Right.
But the other thing is, Kwesi has done a phenomenal job for a smaller market franchise and at bringing in guys who, yeah, and we've gone down this route before, so I'm not going to do it anymore. But I just think I do think the criticism is unwarranted and
Mhm.
pre what's the word, predetermined. Like there's a lot of stuff where the jury is still out on Kwesi and O'Connell. Talk to me in 2 years, maybe I'll be embarrassed by this take, but I'm
Yeah.
not ready to close the book on those chapters yet. Anyway, we will talk to you all next week. We're going to be recording fairly early,
Oh yes, that's right.
probably Wednesday morning, because we have
Thanksgiving week.
Thanksgiving festivities going on. But it'll be a fun weekend. Hopefully, it'll be an interesting. Obviously, I'm looking a week and a half. We have a whole set of games to watch before then, but it'll be interesting to see how the Packers and Lions do on Thanksgiving Day. Maybe the Vikings will give us something to be excited about that weekend as well. Man, could you imagine this? If the Vikings beat the Packers and the Lions beat the Packers would be in last place by the end of Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And
Packers beat the Lions
that's
fairly soundly.
probably not going to happen. Yeah. The Packers should be playing better than they are.
Yeah.
Anyways, what I
All
was going to
right.
say in pointing that out is I actually get to see you in person, hopefully,
Yeah.
before the next time we record. So looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
Probably won't record while you're here.
No, don't have time to. We'll talk to you all next week.
All right. See ya.